For Chapter 5, Tutorial 3, starting on page 5-46, we're going to be creating 3 separate features to create this part, and we will need to create one plane to get everything to line up. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I am going to go to the Extrude command, click Placement, and I want to select my front plane in this case, and then go to Sketch View Orientation. Now, one of the things that I've done in pretty much every video that I've done is I've just started by drawing my first couple of lines. And for this particular exercise, that's what I want to do. That way I can get a really good sense of the scale that I am working with before I go any further. So in this case, I am just going to draw my line down and the little line segment over so that I can establish my dimensions. This is going to be 30 and this is going to be 10. Now that I have that, I can go back to the line command and kind of draw the rest of this shape out somewhat proportionately. So we'll come up here, and this is going to come in a little bit, go down, come over, back up, and then close off up here. Now I can go ahead and place the rest of my dimensions so that everything lines up good. This here is going to be 9. Across here is 16. The depth of that cut in the top is 4. This we already have dimensioned at 10, and the overall is 40, so we'll just click this left edge, the right edge, and then type 40. And once I have all of that in place, the only other dimension I need is a 10 on here, but I'm just going to do an equal constraint between here and here. And now I've got everything that I need for that initial feature. So I'm going to say OK, and we are going to extrude this 60. And I'll hit the checkbox, and here you can see we've got our first feature. The next thing that I want to do is create the slightly angled feature that is going to be necessary. So I'm going to go back into Extrude, click on Placement, select one item, and I'm just going to select this top plane right here, and then go to Sketch View Orientation. I'll click the Project button and grab this edge, that way I have something to work with. And if I orbit slightly, you can see that I'm working on the top of that feature. So now I need to draw a circle that is going to be over here, and 2 lines that come off of these corners that are tangent, so I'm going to move until I see that T to this feature. And we'll come in and draw our other line that will also be tangent. I'm going to put an equals constraint between this line and this line, and we'll use delete segment to get rid of this inner piece right here. Strike that. We will use delete segment to get rid of this outer piece. And then I can put in my dimension here of 16, and then dimension between this edge and the center point a total of 48. So because I made these equal and this has a dimension, then everything else should be lined up properly. And it gets really tight down here, and it can be kind of hard to see if it's closed or not. That's why it's important to have on the Shade Closed Loops button. That way I can just look at it and tell that everything is shaded the way that it's supposed to be. So I'm going to go ahead and orbit this and select OK. That way I can see what I'm doing when I extrude this, and I know that it's 10 and I want it to go the other way, so we can now see that it's lined up where it's supposed to be here, and I'll say OK. Now for the last feature on this particular exercise, we need to create an offset work plane. And this offset work plane is going to be 10. So we're going to come over here to the plane button and select the bottom plane, and I want the translation to be 10. Now I'm going to see which direction that goes, and it goes up. So let me make that a -10 instead, and now I can see that it goes down. Well, once I have that, I can say OK, and then go to Extrude. Now it automatically starts my sketch on the new plane that I just created. Now there's a little thing that we can do here to kind of cheat the system a little. And what that's going to be is I'm going to use project, and I'm going to grab this arc, and that's going to bring that down there. But I don't want to use it from a geometry perspective. I only want to use it from a reference perspective. So once I bring it down, I'm then going to go ahead to delete segment and get rid of it. And you'll notice that it leaves behind this dashed arc and the center point, which is all of the reference information that it comes from. So I can just go to circle and draw a circle the exact size that I need. And if you notice, I don't need any dimensions whatsoever to get this to actually come up the way that it needs to. So, and again, in the sketch in the book, they're creating the hole as part of the sketch. I can do it that way, but again, I prefer to use the hole command to create holes. So I'm going to go ahead and say OK. I'm going to change this distance to 60. And it does go the other way, so now I can hit the checkbox. I'll go to my hole command, select my top surface, hit Control, select the axis. I want this hole to go all the way through, and I need it to have a diameter of 22. So now I can hit the checkbox, and what I have left is the finished product in this case. So it is now time to go ahead and submit this particular assignment.